number 140 in our mantra book. Most of you have that book, so you can just read with me. This is from Rig Veda. ऋषि अनिलो वातायना. वायु की गति स्वतंत्र है, उसका वेग भी उसी के अधीन है और दिशा भी. मनुष्य उसके मार्ग में बाधक नहीं हो सकता. ऋग्वेद में वायु की स्वतंत्रता का ये मंत्र है. यथा वशम चरति ही देव एषः. वायु अपनी इच्छा अनुसार विचरण करता है. रोक टोक है ना कहीं, वायु को ममीत. चला जात जिस निज वेग से, जिधर हो उसका चीत. रोक टोक न है उसे, तीव्र उसकी चाल. मनमत चंचल जान लो, निग्रह का न सवाल. भूमि से आकाश तलक उसका है विस्तार. स्वतंत्रता से चलत है, श्रम से ना कभी हार. ऐसे निर्मल तत्व को मनुष्य ने कीन पुलीत. इसी के ही कारणे रोग शोक लोचित. वायु की स्वच्छंदता न मानव को सवकार. ऐसे भवन बना रहे हो ना वात संचार. वात मीन्स वायु, एयर. स्वच्छ वायु ना जन को भाए, जुकाम उसे इससे हो जाए. बंद कमरा एयर कंडीशन है तो यही पोजीशन. Okay, so closed, no fresh air, and even outside not clean air. That's what we have done to this day. Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parbrahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Bhu Bhuva Swaha Tatsavitra Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Diyo Yo Nah Prachodaya. Asto Ma Satgamya Tamso Ma Jyotirgamya मृत्युर्मा अमृतम गम्या. ओम सहना भवतु सहना भुनक्तु सवीर्यं करवावहे तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहे. ओम शांति शांति शांति. We are on chapter 6. And this is the chapter where King Janak is speaking. In the previous chapter, we saw Saint Astavakra prescribes the path of Lay Yoga. Lay Yoga. That means dissolve your ego. Lay. But here we see the disciple, the royal seer, Janak, is giving his view. In his vision of the Supreme Self, he finds nothing to dissolve. So if you have something, only then you can dissolve. So where he was at that point, he is making his argument over here. And you can see the broadness of this Vedic philosophy. The student can also, with a very respectful way, talk to the Guru and give his point of view also. So he finds nothing to dissolve. He says, what can there be in the one non-dual self other than itself for us to dissolve? He makes the argument here. He says it is beyond everything. Beyond the beyond. Prakriti para parat para. So he says even the very effort at lay yoga declares the ignorance or existence of ignorance. Okay, so if you are trying to practice lay yoga, it is declaring it is the existence of ignorance. The universe, the manifested universe, cannot ever condition the infinite self. Okay? Because we think that it got conditioned. But he says the universe cannot ever condition the infinite self. So this is the grand style of this scripture. Because we got to always remember who is the student and who is the teacher over here. They both are very high caliber personalities. So this sounds absurd to people like us because we have not realized our real nature. But a person who has realized the real nature, this is like a ABC. So that's why I always tell you that Astavakra Gita is not very popular in Kali Yuga because most of the people don't even follow or understand Bhagavad Gita. You need to understand Bhagavad Gita, practice all the knowledge which has been given there. After that, we can really grasp this Astavakra Gita. Okay? So there are three Gitas, three popular Gitas. I mean, there are several Gitas, but three popular Gitas among the scholars. Bhagavad Gita, that is the first level. The second level is Astavakra Gita. What is the third level? Avadhut Gita. Avadhut Gita. So maybe one day we'll do that also. That's how we get encouraged to walk on this path. Okay, so this Astavakra Gita, it's a grand style of a Gita's philosophy. And what is this philosophy? All in the one self, and the one self in all. And in such a state, no lay can be practiced. To pursue lay yoga, a residual amount of ignorance is necessary to maintain in the seeker. There has to be a little ansh of it in order to dissolve it. So if you are witnessing ego, then you are striving for the dissolution of itself in the Supreme Self. So let's look at how King Janak is making his argument or giving his own point of view to his Guru. Number one, please repeat, and a couple of people can be unmuted so that other people can know how to repeat. Even though it's a very simple Sanskrit, very simple Sanskrit, but still it's good to recite these verses. Akashvat anantaha aham घटवत् प्राकृतं जगत् इति ज्ञानं तथा एतस्य न त्यागा न ग्रहालया. Akashvat, like space, Akash element. Anantaha, limitless. Aham, I. Ghatvat, like a jar, like a ghada. Prakritam, phenomenal. Jagat, the world. Iti means this. Jnanam, the true knowledge. Tatha means then. Etasya, of this. Na is not. Tyagaha, relinquishment. Again, na means not. Graha, acceptance. Like a grahan karna, acceptance. Laya, dissolution. Janak said, infinite as space am I. This as or the like word is very important. He's not saying I'm Akash. He says as Akash. He's just giving a simile over here. Infinite as space am I. And the phenomenal world is like a limited jar. This is the true knowledge. This is Gyan. There is nothing then to be renounced, not to be accepted, not to be destroyed. Just think about it. So far we think that this world is so big and we are a speck in it. He's looking at it differently. He says, I am so big. Infinite, I am. And this manifested world is limited. This is the Gyan. So it's like a oneness with the Brahma. That's where he's coming from. Okay? He knows that his guru, he knows it all. He's not arguing with his guru. He knows that his guru has come out of his infinite kindness. He came down a little from the peak of the absolute and recommended the student the path of dissolution. But King Janak at this point is looking at the whole thing, what he has witnessed, what he has experienced. It's a very high standpoint. So he's not ridiculing his guru's message of the Laya Yoga, but he's finding himself, he says, what can I dissolve? What you're asking me to dissolve, it is so minuscule. This Akash term is used again and again in our scriptures. Supreme Self is often compared with the cosmic space in which the universe moves. So it's like a cosmic space. It's not an Akash element itself. It's a cosmic space. That's what he means by Akash here. In Taittiriya Upanishad also we saw Akash Atma. Chandogya Upanishad, Akasham Brahma. Brid Aranak Upanishad, Akasham Atma. So again and again, they use this Akash term for the cosmic space, not the Akash as an element. There is a Mandukya Upanishad, which we were supposed to do in our 1 week long retreat this summer. That Upanishad is considered as a text that has come to be written after Astavakra Gita. And that Upanishad also elaborates this analogy of the space and the part space, and illustrating this infinite consciousness and the limited ego consciousness. So this is not the first time or the last time these analogies have been used. So from the absolute standpoint of the one homogeneous supreme consciousness, there is neither an ego nor an ego perceived illusory world of polarity. You don't even see it. You don't even recognize it. All you see is homogeneous Brahm. Nothing else but Brahm. I mean, this is the goal. This is the highest state of realization. And Janak is abiding in this reality. And that's why he's complaining in this verse and next few verses that he cannot practice a Laya. There is nothing to be renounced or to be accepted or to be destroyed. Graho na tatra न उत्सर्गः चिंता यत्र न विद्यते आत्म संसथा तदा ज्ञानम अजाति समताम गतम. There in the self is the final fulfillment of the actions of the mind. There is neither any perception nor my self-projection into ideas. Established in the self, in the Atma, the self reveling in that kind of a knowledge, the ultimate knowledge, which is called Jnana, that Jnana reaches the state of homogeneity. If after reaching the Jnana, I say, no, I am Jnani and you are not, or I am different than you, that means has not reached to that Jnana. It's a homogeneous, everywhere, nothing but Brahma, nothing but truth. If you start saying, no, my religion is better than yours, my guru is better than yours, that means the Gyan has not come to you yet. Homogeneous, everywhere, nothing but Brahma.
Harji,
Yes.
can you slowly repeat this whole sentence of one homogeneous Brahma and the ego, whatever, so we can write it?
Okay. There in the self, this is from that Mandukya Upanishad, which we are going to, hopefully we'll be able to do it this year. There in the self, which is the final fulfillment of the actions of the mind, there is neither any perception nor my self-projection into the ideas. The next sentence is established in the self, because there are two verses in there. So established in the self.
Please repeat it again slowly.
Oh, okay. There in the self. This is the translation of the first line. There in the self, which is the final fulfillment of the actions of the mind. Because we got to do all this sadhana with the mind. But what is the final fulfillment? So which is the final fulfillment of the actions of the mind? There is neither any projection. Because mind is the one which projects. So there is neither any projection nor my self-projection with ideas. So that means the mind has become still. And then what happened after that? The next line is established in the self. Who is being established in the self? The mind is. Mind which is trying to project. Now mind is established in the self. The self reveling in knowledge. And this knowledge I'm talking about, that infinite Jnana, Brahm, reaches the state of homogeneity. Okay, established in the self reveling in knowledge reaches the state of homogeneity. Okay, so this is what Janakji is saying to his teacher, his guru. That I don't even see anything other than Brahm. What can I dissolve? Then let's look at, there are 4 verses in this small chapter. So again, he is giving the all famous example of ocean. Mahodi iv aham.
Mahodi iv aham.
Sa prapanchaha vichashnibha.
Sa prapancha vichasnibha.
Iti jnanam tatha etasya
इति ज्ञानं तथा एतस्य
na tyaga na grahalaya.
न त्यागः न ग्रहालयः.
Mahodhi means ocean. Iv means like. Aham, I am. Beautiful example. Sa means that. Prapanchaha, the phenomenal universe. Do you see the cleverness of the words used over here? Vichishnavaha, like the wave. So he says, I'm like the ocean and the universe is like a wave. Iti jnanam, this true knowledge. Tatha means then. Itasya, of this. Na means not. Tyagaha, relinquishment. Na graha, not acceptance. Laya, dissolution. I am like the ocean and the universe is like a wave. This is true knowledge. So this is not from the arrogance. This is not the ego talking. That's why I said this I is that big I. Ego is always a small I. Okay, this I, the Brahm. I am like the ocean and the universe is like a wave. This is true knowledge. There is nothing then to be renounced, nor to be accepted, not to be destroyed.
Last line is the same in every shalok.
Yes, because he is just crying it out loud in that ecstasy. He is still in samadhi. That's why I said he's not talking from his mind or the ego. See, normally when we argue, when we debate, it's our ego which is talking. These are the words coming, flowing out. It's just like, he says, I really don't know what to do. What you're telling me to do. There's nothing in me which I can dissolve. It's all the same. So the Supreme is an experience that is inexpressible in language. So that's why there's a repetition over here. It is beyond our thoughts and our speech. This is Supreme or the self or the soul is that because of which we are conscious of our thoughts. And by which we are able to verbalize our thoughts. But when he has really dissolved into that higher, then how can we even say? Doesn't seem logical. So here Janak is explaining how from the state of pure self is like a shoreless ocean. And the universes are rising out of it like waves. We know that wave is limited. It is conditioned by the ocean. And the wave, when it merges into the ocean, is nothing but the ocean. That's why this phenomenal world, it has come out of Brahma. Where does it go? Back into Brahma. And this right now, Janak is feeling the oneness with the Brahma. So that's why he is saying, and that's why those Mahavakyas, Aham Brahmasmi, those rishis, they uttered from that standpoint. That there's nothing but Brahma. The limitations and the conditionings in the waves are all temporary. And they don't have much significance. What is the sense in asking the ocean to merge the waves to realize its own peaceful vastness and majesty? So with this kind of example, the idea that the infinite gets conditioned is totally removed from the reflective mind of the contemplative student. Okay. aham sa shuktihi sankakshaha
अहं स शुक्ति संकाशः
रूप्यवत् विश्वकल्पनः
रूप्यवद् विश्वकल्पनः
इति ज्ञानं तथा एतस्य
इति ज्ञानं तथा एतस्य
न त्यागा न ग्रहालया
न त्यागः न ग्रहालयः
aham I. So means that shukti sankakshaha, like a seashell, mother of the pearl. He has given this example before too. In the seashell, we see that lining of the silveriness. Rupyavat, like the silvery shine. Vishwakalpana, the illusion of the universe. Again, the same repetition as in the previous two verses. Iti jnanam, the true knowledge. Tatha means then, etasya, of this, na tyaga, no relinquishment, na graha, no acceptance. I am like the seashell, and the illusion of the universe is like the silveriness. This is true knowledge. There is nothing then to be renounced, not to be accepted, not to be destroyed. So famous example again is hinted here, so that our mind, who suspects that the infinite self has undergone a temporary modification, but it has not. So the silveriness is not a modification of the shell. The shell remains as it is. The substratum is not affected by the illusory projections. Okay, a substratum, what is the substratum of this world? The God, the Brahm. The same way, what is the substratum of this, our individual human existence? The Atma. And that does not go through the modification. There's no modification in the God or in the Atma. So over here, he's talking about the shell. Shell is the substratum. Silveriness in there is the modification. So true knowledge is when I realize that I am the pure consciousness. That is the true knowledge. Iti jnanam. And the ego and its field of experiences are all illusory imaginations of the ego.
Could you repeat the last sentence, please?
Yes. True knowledge is, because we are after the true knowledge. Because that's what King Janak is speaking out over here. The true knowledge is when I realize that I am the pure consciousness. Because right now we think we are the body. Healthy body, sick body, intelligent mind, good deeds. But he says true knowledge is when I realize that I am the pure consciousness, and the ego and its fields of experiences. Because what do we experience? My ego is experiencing it. I have achieved so much. I have done so much. Okay, its fields of experiences are all illusory imaginations of the ego. So, from such a perfect state of universal oneness, no doubt, lay yoga cannot be practiced. Because you remember in the lay yoga, the 4 verses which we learned, and then I sent you, Nishi asked me to give the one-liners, and I sent you the one-liners, and I hope you got it. And you remember what was the first line? Dissolve the body complex. Right? That was the very first line. That was the first verse in the last chapter. So he says, what is there to dissolve? I know I'm not the body. Dissolve the mind and its desire prompted storms within. That was the second one. He says, I know I'm not the mind. What is there to dissolve? Then third one was negate the universe of the names and forms. So now he says that all the names and the forms, they are just only the waves. No significance to them. And the fourth one we came up with was dissolve all your intellectual estimates. And the response is, where are you supposed to dissolve them? In the contemplation of the nature of the self. So that means just merge that in the Atma. So he says it's already merged. I don't even see anything. I don't see the intellect. I don't see the body. I don't see the names and the forms. Everything is merged. What can I do? So from that standpoint, King Janak is talking about. Make sense now? And where did he start though? Never forget that. King Janak, he was already a Karma Yogi. When he came to his Guru, what did he ask the Guru? He said, teach me this, O Lord. That's how this great scripture started. Teach me this, O Lord. How can knowledge be acquired? How can a liberation come? How is renunciation achieved? These were his questions at that point. He was a Karma Yogi, but these were the questions. He wanted the liberation. He wanted the knowledge. And then what did the teacher say? In the second verse, if you aspire for liberation, my child, reject the objects of the senses as poison and seek forgiveness, straightforwardness, kindness, cheerfulness, and truth as a nectar. So this is the practice he did. Even after becoming a Karma Yogi, these were the qualities. So in the first line, in this verse, and if you have gotten the book, have not gone through the first few verses, just remember that this is the second verse. That's how it starts. Inquiry from a student, and then the practice from the teacher, and then student practiced, and then he reached to that space where we are right now. So in this second verse, in the first line, first he says, if you wish to attain liberation, freedom, complete freedom, what not to do, and what to do in the second line. He says, objects of the senses as poison. Don't run after them. And then what to do? Kshama, Arjav, Daya, Tosh, Satyam, Piyushvat Bhaj. Piyushvat means as nectar, as Amrit. Piyush means Amrit. So in the first line, what is a poison? Stay away from the poison. And what is a nectar? These are the nectars. Forgiveness, straightforwardness. Straightforwardness means the honesty. Honesty and harmony between your words, between your deeds, and between your thoughts also. Arjavam, Daya, kindness, kindness to everybody. Tosh, cheerfulness. This morning also when I was reading after my prayers, in that Yog Mahadivya Ramayan. The message over there was, you want to do a Suksham Dhyan, but you got to bring some qualities. Suksham Dhyan we want to do. That means we want to see God everywhere. No matter where we go, God and nothing but God. Just like in Bhagavad Gita also, Lord Krishna just here and there gives us a little small pill. Right? Even though there are so many enemies, what he talks about, he says, Kam, Krodh and Lobh. Right? So even though there are a lot of others also, but at least work on that. So in this particular message, Guruji said, if you want to do the Suksham Dhyana, pay attention to the three things. He said, Satya, Santosh, and Tap. And Satya is what? This Arjav is the Satya. Tosh. Why this Tosh? I'm saying cheerfulness. You are cheerful only when you are content. You will see that Bhagat is always cheerful, always happy. Doesn't matter what kind of a circumstances the Bhagat is going through, always happy. Tosh. Otherwise, we are complaining. I'm going to be happy only if I have this. But Bhagat is Santosh. And Tap, austerity, we need to observe austerity. Sure, we want a lot, but then we got to do a lot too. So if you want to see God everywhere, cultivate these qualities. So this is what Rishi Astavakra is saying also. If you desire for liberation, my child, reject the objects of the senses as poison. And this rejection is not a physical rejection. It's a mental rejection. Sometimes physically we can be away, but in mental realm, they are still roaming. Or sometimes we think, no, I have really given it up. I'm the biggest Vairagi. But it's in your mind. So from the mind, we have to reject. So if you aspire for liberation, my child, reject the objects of the senses as poison and seek. Bhaj. Bhaj means work on that. Seek for these qualities. Number one, forgiveness, straightforwardness, kindness, cheerfulness, and truth, satyam, as nectar. So, because sometimes we think that King Janak just so fast, he just got liberated. He must have worked several lifetimes. Or even when he came to his guru, he was already a very high level of a student. But he practiced more, paid attention. And then it doesn't take that long to see God everywhere then. It's almost like if somebody is building a house, it might take a long time to build the house and have the wires put in there all over. But when everything is done, how long does it take to turn the switch on? Once the switch is on, light everywhere. To spread the wires, definitely it took time. So this is what King Janak did. For several lifetimes maybe. We don't know. It's only God knows and his guru knows. But once he was in the company of the guru, this switch got turned on. Okay. So number 4, the last one of this chapter, he says, Aham va sarva bhuteshu.
Sarva Bhuteshu.
Sarva bhutani ayomai.
Sarva Bhutani Ayomai.
Iti jnanam tatha etasya.
Iti Jnanam Tataha Etasya.
Na tyaga na grahalaya.
Na Tyaga Na Grahalaya.
Aham aiva means indeed. Sarva bhuteshu, in all beings. And Urmil, this is the verse where I got it earlier, that everywhere the same. Sarvabhutani, all beings. Atho means and, may means in me. Iti jnanam, this knowledge, tatha etasya, then of this, na tyaga, no relinquishment, na graha, no acceptance, laya, dissolution. I am indeed in all beings, and all beings are in me. The oneness. This is true knowledge. There is nothing then to be renounced, not to be accepted, not to be destroyed. So according to the Upanishads, self-realization does not mean the discovery of our own divinity and the recognition of the undivinity in other things. Okay? Or other things in the universe. That is not self-realization. Self-realization is oneness. Divine this, divine everywhere. So this is called awakening to the higher consciousness. So that's why they say to awake to the higher consciousness, to recognize nothing but the splash of divine beauty in all its glory. Sunday, what did we, the chapter we finished in our Sunday class from Bhagavad Gita, what did Lord Krishna say? I'm everywhere. Everywhere. He did not say I'm only in the beautiful things. Everywhere. There's no place where God is not. And all the time also, not only sometimes. So the splash of the blinding divine beauty. I mean, it's so blinding. We'll see that the next chapter in Bhagavad Gita, which we are going to start Sunday, Vishwa Roop Darshan, it was blinding for Arjun. He said, all I see is a radiance of thousands of suns shining at the same time. That kind of a blinding. So that's why I said the splash of blinding divine beauty in all its glory. Whether we are looking at a cactus plant or whether we are looking at a rose. When we reach to this height, all we see is divinity. That is the true knowledge. No projection. So the total transmutation of the vision of the man of perfection is indicated in the Ishavasya Upanishad also, and it's repeated in the Bhagavad Gita also, because these are the scriptures we have studied. Ishavasya Upanishad, you can look at it later on after this class. Verse number 6. Let me repeat it to you. Yasya sarvane bhutanye atma anya eva anupashyati sarvabhuteshu cha atmanam tato na vijuktsate. He who recognizes all names and forms as his own self and recognizes his own self in every name and form. Oneness. To such an individual, there is no revulsion in life. Vijugupsa. That's a revulsion. There's nothing to hate. Above rag and dvesh both. Okay, he who recognizes, you have that scripture with you. So he who recognizes all names and forms. Because this is what Astavakra told in the last chapter. Right? Let go. the names and the forms. He says he recognizes all names and forms as his own self and recognizes his own self in every name and form. To such an individual, there is no revulsion in life. Our own things, when we say it's mine, we don't have any revulsion. A sick person, there could be a wound in the body. So it's my body. There is a pus coming from my body. No revulsion will clean it. When everything, everybody, all the names and the forms are mine. What is there to hate? Then in Bhagavad Gita, which you all have, chapter 6, verse number 29. Sarvabhutast Atmanam Sarvabhutani cha Atmane. It's a very famous verse. Ikshate Yoga Yukta Atmaha Sarvatra Samdarshana. With the mind harmonized by yoga, he sees the self. Over here, yoga means the practice. Practice of yoga. And yoga at all level. Yes, you have a question, Jyoti?
NRG has a question. Who's NRG?
So Auntie, I had a question for you. So I understand the concept of oneness.
Mm-hmm.
My question is, my body and my mind, I still have some control over, right? Mm-hmm. But if I am one with the universe, mm-hmm. and there's all this horrible stuff going on in the universe, mm-hmm. I have no control over that. Like I have no control over what Trump is doing. So how exactly am I the universe when I'm not able to control, or can I control things which are happening in the universe? Because I am one with the universe, correct?
Yeah. At this level, when a student is at this level, acceptance has come into the personality. We have a control, a limited control. When we expand our consciousness, then we'll definitely have a more control also. But until we reach there, acceptance is needed. Otherwise, there's a churning in our mind. See, when we reach at the level of Lord Krishna, he could control. In Mahabharata, he could control the sun also. There was a time for it. He did not let the sun go down because there was a reason for it. So these are the levels of achievement. The first level is where King Janak was, that's called a Videha. Videha means become a master of your own body. That is a very high level too. We have not become the master of our body yet. So practice is needed in order to expect the control in the outer realms. Control our tongue right now. More and more control. That's where the tap comes. Control over the senses. So we got to know where we are going. So this is where we'll be going ultimately. But right now, try to become a Videhi, master of this body. Then after that comes a Prakriti Lai, master of the Prakriti, the outer universe, the manifested world. Then comes that Brahmalin, which he is talking about. These are the stages of the liberation. Okay? So what you are talking about, outside, we know what's happening. Some things we like, some things we don't like. So have the calmness in the mind. Because sometimes it's not our role to play right now. Our role was only when we voted. Or right now, if you want to take a little, some kind of a call it like some project you want to take. So we can do that. But still, it should not be with a disturbed mind, though. There should be more clarity.
Hershey, can you please repeat 3 stages of liberation that you mentioned?
One is called Videha. Videha means mastery over your deha, the body. And that means the physical body, the mental body, the intellectual body. Those are all our bodies. Or you can call it a Sathul Sharir and a Suksham Sharir and the Karan Sharir. Okay, so Videha. Then after comes the Prakriti Laya. That means outside, the bigger sphere. Then comes the Brahmalina, like a oneness with the Brahma, seeing the Brahma everywhere. That's where King Janak is talking about. Okay?
Thank you.
So, but in Nishtha, is that your Nishtha, right?
No, that's right.
Yeah, Nishtha. Yeah. So your question is a very good question, very practical question, because where we are right now, we do feel very helpless, but we got to use part of this to calm our mind. That doesn't mean we don't need to take any action. Take the action, keeping these ultimate truths in our mind and do whatever we can do. But if we have a disturbed mind and we are not even doing anything, Trump has the power. He's in that position right now. He will do whatever according to his understanding. But if we get disturbed and we are not doing anything, then who is getting hurt? Not him, we are.
Okay,
See, there is a dharma or the several, in several areas we need to work on. One area is ourself. Then there is a duty towards the society, duty towards this mother nature also. So different areas we have different duties. We should not get confused with all this. Okay? So next time when the time comes to vote, we should remember. What should we do? Okay? But not at right now there's no need to get disturbed. Right now, immediately, what do we need to do? Keep yourself safe and healthy. Right now, that is what we are. They're telling us: lock down, stay away from each other, work on yourself. Right? Yes, Jyoti.
Poonam has a question.
Yes,
No, Hershey, you were telling one of the students that right now we just need to calm ourselves down. And it starts with not having dislikes, first of all. And that's what you always tell us. Have no likes and dislikes, and that's your first step to walk on this path. I was just, repeating.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Reduce your likes and dislikes. No, we cannot eliminate them all.
But to get on this path, we have to eliminate them all.
Yeah, ultimately we got to eliminate. But if we have like a big wave up there and down there, we really cannot reduce right away. Just like bring it closer and closer to the equanimity.
Yeah, that's the practice. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, that's the practice. That is the practice, yeah. And again, knowing our own weaknesses, knowing our own strengths, that's what we use in this practice. Okay, so going back to this Bhagavad Gita, if you have not studied Bhagavad Gita, please get a book, start studying. It's very, very important. Okay, that is step number 1, and then we can reach to this what we are studying. So with the mind harmonized by yoga to see the self, abiding in all beings and all beings in the self, he sees the same everywhere. Right? So ikshate yoga yuktatma sarvatra samdarshana. So in the good also, in the bad also. But that doesn't mean you don't do your duties. You still do your duty, but with a yuktatma. See, Lord Krishna, Yogeshwar Krishna, he did take actions, He did kill the evil, got rid of the evil at that time, whatever needed to be done, but with a harmonized personality. Okay, so this doesn't mean that you sit back and let the bad happen in the world. No, if this is what your calling is, if you have taken up some kind of a project, do this, but with a calm mind. So Janak faithfully is following the scriptures when he is having a little debate with his teacher, both in the language and the thought content. When he declares that I am indeed in all beings and all beings are in me. Gita says it, Upanishad say it. So that's why he says, that's what I'm seeing. It's almost like if we talk about the example of the ghost and the post. The entire ghost is in the post, and the post pervades the ghost. From this standpoint, what is there other than the self to dissolve in the self? He says, I really don't see anything to dissolve. Okay, so we have, what time is it?
11:30.
11:30, yeah. Okay, all right. So we don't need to start the next chapter. Next chapter also, King Janak is talking. It's a good dialogue between these two great personalities. Any question? Anybody? Something you did not understand, or somewhere you got your opinion, that's fine too.
Raj,
Firstly, it's not about this book, but you mentioned Avdut Gita. So we did Bhagavad Gita on Thursdays, then we went to Astavakra Gita on Thursdays. Can we think of Avdut Gita next when we get done?
Okay, all right, sure. Next down the line, we will. Yes, definitely. Yeah, yeah, no, that's in my mind. We will do that. Avdut Gita also, because these are the three Gitas. See, Bhagavad Gita is very popular. Most of the people, not just the Hindus alone, other people also, they regard that a song of the God. Okay, it came from the mouth of Lord. So very practical too. Easy to understand also. Hard to practice, easy to understand. So this is even hard to comprehend if you have not studied Bhagavad Gita. But if you have,
Manju,
yes, Manju.
Manju.
Oh, Manju, me?
Yeah, Malhotra.
No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
Did
I
I
thought you
read?
had a question.
Sorry. No. Thank you.
I had a question.
Okay, all right, Pramila.
In chapter 4, number 1, I think you mentioned King Janak could not practice lay. I did not understand that, why he could not practice lay.
Okay, why he couldn't? Because he says, what is there to dissolve? He says, because what are we dissolving? We are dissolving ego. And he doesn't find any ego in him. He says, all I see is the soul. I see it everywhere the same. So that's why he is just crying out loud. I don't know what to dissolve. Got it?
Okay.
So he's not talking from his
about
arrogance. He's just talking from his self-realization point of view. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else? See, that's why I said that it's very hard to comprehend, because our own ego, we are reading it, we are trying to understand it. We still have a lot of layers of the arrogance or the ego in us, or we think we have studied so much. Why is he saying it? Okay, but he's coming from a different point of view, different state of mind. Okay, anybody else?
Hershji,
Yes.
I just wanted you to expand on, you're using the word homogeneous a lot.
Yeah.
And homogeneous in our current day-to-day life, how would you use it with, if you can give some examples.
Okay, it's just like if I turn the light on in the room, that light is everywhere. Well lit room, you will say that light is homogeneous. Or if I dissolve sugar in a glass of water and it dissolves everywhere, there is no water in the glass which doesn't have the same taste of sugar. You will say it's homogeneous. So when we use the word homogeneous, God, this level of a yogi sees God in a homogeneous state. That means he sees the God here, God in you, in between also. There's no place where God is not for him. Because at our level, we think that God is more, bigger God is in the saints and in the gurus and in the deities. Right?
So it has to do with
we use the word, we use the word Mahanatma, Mahatma, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or sometimes we don't even mind saying Nichatma. But this level of a yogi says, Atma cannot be changed, and all I'm seeing is Atma in everything. There's nothing else but the Atma for me. That's homogeneous.
So it's a perspective of each person, right?
It is his experience.
His experience.
It's not a perspective.
It's Ashtavakra's, Raja Janak's experience.
Yeah, this is Raja Janak's experience, because after practicing what his teacher told him, he came to this realization and he's seeing it.
He's seeing it. Okay.
Yeah. So it's not a perspective. Perspective will be always with the mind.
Okay.
This is realization. This is called a realization. He sees it.
Good.
Okay. So from that point of view, he says, so homogeneous really means there's nothing but God.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Poonam has to say something.
Yes, Poonam.
Harji, I was thinking that once we have reached that calmness of our mind, so the outcome of that calmness or that state of our being is having this realization that we are one. Mm-hmm. Then it is not a practice, it is not a perspective, it is not a point of view. This is the outcome of our sadhana, let's say, or the way we are. That would be the outcome, that we see everything as us.
Yeah, that's right.
So let's say if we do the meditation or whatever, and we reach that state of samadhi, the outcome of that is automatically that we don't do anything about it, but we start seeing ourselves in everybody and everybody in us.
Yeah.
So it's an experience. We cannot work. We can work, but we cannot start thinking mentally, oh, I'm going to look at that tree and say it's me. It isn't that way. You have to experience, go through it, and then reach that automatically.
Yeah, that happens automatically. Ultimately, realization happens spontaneously. But in order to reach there, practice is needed. Sadhana is needed. Just like I gave you the example of a building. Wiring has to be done. So the sadhana is like a wiring we are doing. And then when the realization happens with a turn of a switch. And sometimes the turn of a switch is being in the company of this kind of a yogi. It's almost like the heat, the divine heat comes from a yogi, and then your switch has been turned on.
Yeah.
Okay? Tabhi kehte time nahi aaya. Yeah. So that's like a time has come.
Yeah, if you have reached that stage of your sadhana and you have done, then it automatically will happen. That's what automatically happens.
This final realization will happen spontaneously. Tabhi to kehte hain ki samadhi lagai nahi jati.
Yeah.
First, you have to meditate, dhyan lagaya jata hai. Samadhi is this realization that happens spontaneously. No effort needed. In our meditation, you all know there are 3 parts. You who is meditating initially, and the object of your meditation and the effort made. Those three things. As long as you are making an effort means तुम्हारा ध्यान कहीं और जा रहा है, and
You're bringing it back.
you want to do the dhyan on the God, divinity. That's an effort. And then ultimately what happens in samadhi, the effort drops out.
It drops out.
And then you are not even aware of yourself. Because it's a oneness, then that's a samadhi. So Raja Janak is talking from that level.
That, yeah.
Yeah,
So
and
there
then
is
that
no
happens,
effort.
realization happens, and the samadhi happens spontaneously.
Yeah.
Without even you realizing it, it happens. Okay? So, but these are the stages, but pehle practice ke liye, some practices are done at the physical level, some practices are done at the mental level, some practices are done at an intellectual level. Because these are all the personalities given to us. So when we study something like this, we are practicing at the intellectual level. We are putting that gyan, the knowledge, the theoretical knowledge. Then ultimately, the realization is the ultimate gyan. Okay, so the same term gets used two different ways. Okay, see, just like a karam is used two different ways. Karam, fal is also called karam. And the karam which we do, that's also a karam. कहते हैं ना कर्म करो. फिर ये भी कह देते हैं कि वो मेरे कर्म आगे सामने हैं, मेरे. That's a fal.
Yeah.
So these terms, philosophically, we got to see where we are using it, how we are using it, why we are using it. Okay, so that's why this karma word also is very confusing for a lot of people. And some people think karmas are only the bad karmas. People say, oh, these are my karmas. They can be good and the bad and mixed also. Right? So I'm glad you guys are thinking, asking questions, giving your input. That's very important. You can see that King Janak, he's giving his input too. It's good to give your input. It's good because we are all experiencing at a different level. But idea is to just have this knowledge in our mind, and wherever we are, just keep on practicing. Keeping the body healthy is very important. If the body becomes sick before its time, because ultimately this body, but before its time, if it does, then we have not done what we are supposed to do. So take care of the body and do your duties also. We have a duties towards our children, we have a duties towards our grandchildren, duties towards our spouses, and some duties towards our other family members too. That's only one part of it. So do the duties also. But the main duty, main goal is this liberation, while keeping everything else in check. Because if there's a disturbance in our family life, disturbance in the society, there's always a little unrest internally. Like these days, people are feeling, even though there's nothing is really happening to majority of the people, but a disturbance. So that's why doing whatever needs to be done, not forgetting why we are here in this beautiful body.
Urmila?
Yeah, when Poonam was asking, so just like the ocean and the wave and all these similes, what I came up with was that when you beat the yogurt up, unless you make it really smooth and homogeneous, you can't have a good raita.
Oh, raita. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
You have to whip it up, and eventually you will have the homogeneous.
And whipping is really this
Whipping
meditation
is what
when we
you are
do.
doing.
Meditation is really a whipping.
Yep.
Because that's what the yogis also talk about. The energy which rises up there through our chakras. It is like a whipping.
Yes. You have to
It feels
keep
like
doing
whipping.
it, keep churning it till you get the
Keep turning it, definitely.
ultimate results.
Definitely. Yeah. So that's good. I'm
Sorry,
glad.
I'm starting to be like Janaka, come up with similes now.
And Urmila, are you going to do you have your poem for Sunday?
I'm working on it. Yes.
Okay, all right, good. Sunday is a Mother's Day. After our Gita class, Urmil is going to.
Whenever you ask me, I get inspired. I have to do it.
No,
Otherwise, I
you do
don't
a
sit
good
and write
job.
all the time.
She sometimes she stays up all night and write things for us.
Yeah.
So really appreciate it.
I'm working on it pretty good.
Good, appreciate it. Yeah. Okay, so
Can I,
Unmute.
can I please make a comment?
Prem, what did you
Prem.
say?
This is the very first time I ever heard the expression that I am the ocean and the rest of the universe is wave.
Yes.
Can you say
Yes, it's a very, very profound statement.
Is it really profound? It is profound, but it's too profound for me.
Okay, all right.
I've never
But
heard this before.
okay, all right. Just Prem, just contemplate upon it, because by having these different examples, so it's like I'm the ocean. It does not mean my ego is ocean.
That's what I mean. That's
Yeah, we got to remember that what is ocean? I, the big I. That's why I said not the arrogant I, but the big I. It's the ocean. It is really an ocean.
Yes, it's just very interesting and very different.
Yes, yes, it's beautiful. I just I remember first time when I read it, I just started crying. It is so profound,
It is so profound.
of a statement. Yeah, it's beautiful, beautifully said. Okay, Manny, do you have the chanting for today? So then after that, we'll unmute everybody and we can have more discussion if you need. But let's just meditate with this chanting a little.
Okay, give me a second.
Okay. But I really enjoy your company, all of you. Thank you for coming to the classes and participating. It's really beautiful.
Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai 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 Ram.
Thank you very much.